Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy, NerdModon, and I'll be doing a gameplay commentary over some Battlefield 4. In this particular gameplay, you guys will be noticing that I'm going to be playing on Siege of Shanghai with one of my good friends, Daze, and Daze is going to be in the tank, and I'm going to be gunning for him, doing the best that I can. Granted, I don't normally use the tank when it comes down to the gunning position in specific, considering that my sensitivity doesn't exactly match the sensitivity I probably should be using, so let me elaborate a little bit. What mainly happens is I like to have my sensitivity fairly high when I'm the actual driver of the vehicle, considering that it allows me to swivel faster, it allows me to check behind me, considering that most of the time I don't have a gunner that probably knows how to play the Battlefield series by itself, so of course, they're not always on top of their game. But if I have a friend, of course, I don't need to teach him how to play, considering that we're communicating, we have all that information at our disposal. However, like I said before, most of the blueberries you get, the guys that don't exactly maybe play as hardcore as some other players, which is perfectly understandable, may not pay attention to minor details. And that's something that I find myself getting C4'd a lot from, and it's very frustrating, don't get me wrong. It's definitely a very aggravating experience, but definitely I would say that my sensitivity doesn't exactly match, considering that, when I'm a driver, everything's perfectly fine. I don't need to decrease it at all, I don't need to increase it at all, it's perfect exactly how it is. However, when I jump into the gunner position, the sensitivity is like 1,000 times faster. I don't know if it has mouse acceleration just enabled for some bizarre reason, which isn't on my behalf. I've made sure it's all disabled, but I feel like the sensitivity for the gunner is just a lot more sensitive, and I feel like it just doesn't exactly operate very well for me personally, so I guess that's a reason that I don't ever find the gunner position to be very effective, considering that it also doesn't do a ton of damage versus infantry/vehicles. Don't get me wrong, if an infantry is running up on you, the 50 cal is going to tear him to pieces. But if you're trying to snipe with the thing, it tends not to be the best weapon. I feel like shooting them with a 9mm pistol would probably be a lot more effective. Now, of course, with that talked about, I decided to let Daze drive me around, and everything worked out pretty well. I felt like he did everything he needed to, and the deaths that we did get were pretty much unavoidable. There was nothing that we could do, considering that our teammates were not occupying flags, they weren't holding flags, and they just didn't have any map control. I mean, only two guys can only do so much work when it comes to the battlefield, as I'm sure many of you guys know. And with two players trying to take flags and really trying to hold the ones that we barely had, it was pretty frustrating, and it was pretty much a losing battle when it came down to the main gist of it, considering that they had the rooftops, they were camping up there with sniper rifles, and everything else that comes along with rooftop camping. But of course, there was some fun to be had. There was a lot of moments where parachuters would come down and we would just mow them down with our tank and all that good stuff. So it was pretty fun. It was just a little frustrating, considering that when you do get the rooftops, you can kind of throw C4 and slams and RPGs and all that good stuff off of them. So it can be kind of frustrating, especially if the other team is using those tactics, but of course, it didn't really hurt us too bad, considering that we were kind of staying by waterside, trying to keep the boat at bay, as well as trying to keep the armor away from the main flag. But anyway, that's pretty much it when it comes down to the gameplay. I kind of wanted to talk with you guys just a little bit about the gunner position and kind of give you guys some insight to maybe why I don't always use it, and maybe get some feedback from you guys to see if you guys enjoy the gunner position, if you see or find that it needs to be increased in the overall potential or the damage, or it needs to have better attachments, because I just feel like the gunner position is just not as good as it probably should be when it comes down to the main gist of it. But anyway, guys, of course, if you guys would like to leave your feedback when it comes down to overall the gunning position in the tank, I would really like to read what you guys have to say. But until the next episode, guys, I will see you then, and this is NMO, and I'm going to be signing out, guys. Peace.